Hi everyone. This is my second video, and this video is regarding overthinking. Uh, in this video, we are going to elaborate the basic reason of overthinking. Means that we are going to simplify what is the basic cause of this overthinking and how we can handle it in a very practical way. Okay, so starting with it, the first point which I want to elaborate is that the reason for overthinking is either a desire or a fear. So, putting an example, including an example in the picture, desire, for example, we cannot sleep a night before if we are going to meet a favorite superstar, or we are going to meet any of our boyfriend or girlfriend. So, the previous night we cannot sleep because we have a desire of getting something. So, the random thoughts come into our mind. I'm not saying this is a pleasure, this is a good moment or a bad moment, but I'm just wanted to mention that random thoughts keep on going in our mind. And the second I mentioned is the fear. So for example, it's a natural instinct. The mind is always trained to protect the body. So anything which a mind is suspecting as a danger, the mind will definitely think about this. So this is a natural instinct which we have gained. So yeah, M- uh, concluding on this, the reason behind overthinking is only a desire or a fear. Moving ahead, how we can tackle this is that first of all we have to classify it on a real or an imaginary basis. Like for example, we have to classify whether the desires and whether the fears which we have in our mind, which we have been implanted in our mind, are real or imaginary. So like for example, if there's a depth if there's a debt on any of the person, so this is going to be a real fear. The person has to fear about this, and only if he fears, then only he can take an action accordingly to the situation which he or she is facing. Another example which I would mention is that presenting the imaginary fears is that, for example, if there's a fear in my mind that if I cross this road, I will be hit by a truck and I will die. So this isn't actually an imaginary fear. So we have to understand first of all that the basic cause is just because of desires and fears. Then we have to differentiate whether it is a real or an imaginary fear. Once we do this, we have to do the mind mapping. What does mind mapping means? That we have to bifurcate the branches of it. Like we have to unfold all the branches. Like for example, I'm putting up an example here. Like first of all, we are hitting on our first fear. We have to differentiate what is the reason for that fear, and then we have to bifurcate again whether it is a real or an imaginary fear. If it's a real fear, okay, if it's a real fear, then we have to again classify it whether it can be solved or it can't be solved. If it can be solved, then take we have to first of all prepare a roadmap to get to solve that problem. Yeah, and keep we have to only keep in this mind that we have to focus only what we can do, not what can be the repercussions of this. Okay. Because in this way, because when we are thinking, or when there are random thoughts going in our mind, there's a lot of loss of energy which happens. So to stop this, we have to focus on what we can do rather than what can happen or what can go wrong and etc. So yeah, and the second is that the things which cannot be solved, those things, like for example death or breakups, these are always are not under control. Like breakups are not in our control, deaths are not in our control. So we have to understand this. um, Knowing or getting to know regarding the things which are not under control from all the perspectives, getting into the reality of that always faces the situation, always gets the situation much better. And the second classification which I have is imaginary fears. Okay, so imaginary fears is that like if there's a fear of me drowning into the water, like if something bad would have happened in my childhood. Now I had a fear that if I go into the water I will drown again. So Okay, so we were discussing about the imaginary fears. For the imaginary fears, the best practice or the best method to avoid those is to actually see the reality. Like, for example, I mentioned I had a fear, I had faced something in my childhood regarding drowning. So, the best thing is that I have to see the reality that it's not that water which can drown me up. If I can learn the skills, then I can surely come up with my fear of drowning. Uh, one more point which I want to mention is that mind grows on anything where our focus is. So we have to dedicatedly spot where we have to put our focus, because everything where the focus is put, it grows, it multiplies actually. Okay. I'm just winding up this video, and in a nutshell, if I would like to mention the in one sentence or in one word, if I want to wind up this video, so I would say, um, tackling overthinking can be done only through understanding. Yeah, this is the one thing. I would sum up that the root cause is only a desire or fear. uh, Further classifying this, these can be real or imaginary desires and fears. We can do mind mapping, that what is the reason of our desire or fear. Is it real or is it imaginary? What can be done, whether it can be tackled or not. And everything can be sorted, means that everything means that this overthinking can be sorted only through right understanding. Thank you.